Hello, part 2 of my spooky story. So let's get into it. So like I described in my last video, I was having a dream. And in this dream, I was in my house, I was doing, basic shit. And I lay on my bed. And I lay on my bed and I was having these long blinks, and in between these long blinks I was like, my door is wide open, and my attention was really on the door being wide open, and it was like, I don't know what was like telling me like, your door is wide open, you need to close it, but I was just so tired I could not close it. And then on my longest blink, which was my last blink, a figure was in my doorway. And this thing was about the same height as the door frame. Where I left off in my last video, I wanted to describe this thing. So this thing took on multiple forms throughout the dream that I was having. But this thing, when I first saw it, it was very like flickery. Like it was like, you would see it, but you were also seeing something else at the same time. Like you were looking at it, but like it would like be really instant, and it would like switch to like what it wanted you to see. And what it portrayed to me at first was like this cartoon, like I guess cartoon like stick figure kind of. It was like this had it a top hat. It was red and white striped, and it had these red and white cufflinks things. Is that what the wrist things, like when you have, like when you're wearing like a suit or something, like cufflinks? The little white parts? But yeah, it had like this like cartoon-esque look. And, like it was something like not offensive, but I knew it was offensive. Like I knew this thing wasn't like trying to talk about my favorite anime, And I'm not going to give this thing a name. I don't want it to have any type of power. But I have an idea what I believe it is, but I'm not going to give it any type of energy towards that. I don't want to identify it at all. But this figure looked like a cartoon character, and it would flicker, and it would be like this all black entity, and then it would be like a flicker, and it would be this. But I couldn't recognize that at first when I was looking at this entity. And like I said, it attacked me, and it was like trying to get on top of me, and I was cursing it out, calling the Lord's name and whatnot. So when I started calling the Lord's name, I backed it out the door, and I was just like, I was just so brazen on it. But I wasn't able to speak in my dream at all. So when I was yelling, it was like coming out as a whisper, pretty much. Or like 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 when when people have like the is it called a stoma? Like when people are smokers and they take out the thing in their throat. It sounded like that, like honestly, when I was talking. And I started calling the Lord's name, and backing this thing out of my room. And it was listening for the most part. You need to get the fuck out of here, get the hell out of here. But also, I could tell I was fighting. Like I was intense about this thing that was in my dream, because in my dream I could hear myself in real life. I was like coming in and out of consciousness. I could hear myself talking in real life. I was getting animated in my sleep, so I could hear myself going on about this thing, and I was like, but like I immediately that kind of snapped me, like this is I'm having a dream. But like I wasn't like thinking about it at the time. I was still thinking about this thing. And, like, I wasn't like, I'm not having a dream, because I could hear myself in real life. But I backed this thing out of my doorway, and I don't know how the front door gets open, but it gets backed out the front door. And I start yelling at this thing even more and more and more, and it's just like, you get the fuck out of here. I don't know who you are, what you are, da 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 da. Pretty much the same thing over and over again. And I started like, in the Lord's name, I command you to leave. You are not welcome here. And the thing gets down the stairs, which my front door has, like, it's the porch and it has downstairs. And then this thing gets down the stairs, and I shut the fucking door and lock it. I shut the door and I lock it. And I want to make sure this thing leaves the yard. So I start walking towards the kitchen. And the kitchen has a view of the like front yard area, so you can see when people are in the front yard. And I start yelling at this thing. I was like, and I keep repeating the same like Lord's Prayer and whatnot, and like I don't da da da. And this thing just puts its hands up and is backing up, backing up, backing up, backing up, backing up. And but it's also kind of like mocking me at the same time. It was like you know, it's kind of like you're not gonna do anything, wah wah wah. And I just follow this thing like we're walking pretty much alongside of each other. Like I'm watching this thing like back up, and then I get to the far end of my house where it has a glass door, and I see this thing that's backing up, and at that point I see this thing for what it actually is. I don't know if it's like, maybe it's more of its truer form, but this thing is like a pitch black humanoid figure. It had pitch black eyes, pitch black skin. It still had this stupid ass top hat on, which is this, I guess, pinstripe. That's what it's called, pinstripe top hat, and then the cuffings on. But it looked more person-like now. But it was just like this figure, and it just like drops its face, and it's just like this dead stare looking at me while it's backing up, and it has its hands up like this. And I command it to leave, all da da da. So across the street from my house, there's these two houses, and there's like this side yard. It's not like really big or anything like that. It's just like a side yard that kind of has like where a car could park, and then like the other person has a garden, and there's a fence in the back. So at like pretty much the porch, where the porches would be, is this wall of pitch black. And you couldn't see anything past it. Like it was just this wall of pitch black. This thing backs up, and like while it's still kind of like mocking me, and it's just like getting itself. It's like it's showing that it's giving up pretty much. And this thing just backs up into the darkness and backs up into nothingness. It just goes. And immediately from there on, I was like, I need to get the fuck up. I was highly over this fucking dream, and I needed to get the fuck up out of here. And at this point, I was realized I'm lucid dreaming at this point, and I realized I need to get the fuck up out of this dream. And I was just like, Jesus, what the fuck? Where's my mom at? I was upset. Like, where was my mom at? Where is everything at? So at this point, I feel like this thing was like, you know, gone. I leave out of my house, I go out the front door, and I start looking for her, and I was just like, I need to wake up. And I immediately, like when I was in the house, I already started, I need to wake up. But I started pinching myself, I started slapping myself, I started, you know, doing those different things, like, to wake you up. I splashed water on my face at one point from my sink. And I walked down the stairs, and I was just like, oh, where the fuck is my mom? I need to get the fuck up out of here. And my car is parked in the front yard, and I start banging my head off the front of my car. No, that's how serious I was about getting the fuck out of this dream. So I head across the street, and it kind of mocked the actual house that's in the, you know, dream, but everything felt like it was like in a diorama set. Like everything felt like a movie set almost, but like, you know, this was a very contained space. Like that's the feeling of it. But I wasn't like perceiving this at the time. I kind of more just like, this feels like a very much like a movie set, like I'm in a box or something, like in a shoebox, and this is like you're watching this go on or something like that. And I remember I get to the door across the street where my mom was, and it was a glass door, and it had like this gaudy ass fucking flower on the front door. It was like a, you know, like a wreath almost. It had this gaudy ass wreath on the front door, and I was just like, what the fuck? I don't know why that stuck out to me, but it was like a silverish blue, but it was like, it stuck out to me for some reason. So I get to this glass door and I start knocking on it, and I was like, Mom, 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 where are you at? And there's a light that pops up in the back, like someone woke up, or like they turned on the light, they realized something, they turned up a light that pops on the back, in the back. Sorry. And it's like someone like woke up, but I start banging on the door, Mom, 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 and my mom comes off, not from where the light is, but from the office from the side. And she walks out from the door, and she opens the door, and I was just pissed the fuck off. I'm gonna do a part 3 because I want to explain a lot more of this dream, but I'll see you in part 3.